Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Pro League. I'm Hugo. Joining me today is Harry, and we are going to be going live with a couple of interesting games tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, no, interesting to say the least. I mean, definitely, very much kind of prepared for all that, and I can't wait to see what comes out. But yeah, no, I mean,
first match.
Yeah, you said it yourself. I mean, we can go ahead and look at some of that stuff now.
Yeah, obviously Mousesports versus HellRaisers is going to be the first game. Following up later is going to be Team LDLC versus North. So I think interesting ones. We've got a little bit to talk about, at least in terms of the first matchup. But here's the schedule so you guys can see what you're going to be tuning into tonight. Right side is going to be obviously what you're seeing on our stream, Mousesports HellRaisers, followed up by LDLC North. And then we have a big one as well on the mainstream, G2 Astralis, and then VP, the slumping onliners, or onlaners, I guess, versus FaZe. So interesting matches across the board, I think, on both streams tonight, but I'm very interested to see how Mousesports versus HellRaisers goes. We obviously had HellRaisers starting to make a bit of a name in Pro League so far. They've started to build up, get a lot better. They even got, I think, to the 5th or 4th slot. Now they're currently around place number 9, so dropped a little bit from glory, but still very effective, and obviously did very well recently at Star Series, so there's a lot of storylines to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, you said doing well in Pro League, but they're kind of doing well everywhere. I mean, HellRaisers are a team that is kind of picked up seemingly from nowhere, and like you said, I mean, there is a lot that we can really speak about in that regard. I think it's very interesting to look at the kind of storylines coming from a lot of these events on the back of HR. Mousesports as well, I mean, they've had a lot going on, most recently with, the likes of Rops joining the roster. The young gun from Estonia who has been, really kind of bringing the pain and mixing things up a lot. He's kind of called into question a lot what it takes to kind of be a pro. And a lot of, we've seen kind of teams more willing now to kind of pick up new talent and whatnot on the back of it, just because of how successful this one player's been. So.
Yeah. Definitely so. Very interesting as well. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty, we're going to give a bit of a shout-out to our sponsors, namely one of them being Lenovo. So big shout-out to them for obviously helping us run this ESL Pro League, and without them, we wouldn't be here today. So shout-out to them as well. We got to obviously give a big name to ESCA and their Mountain Dew League. Obviously, a lot of teams have made their way up from the Mountain Dew League to the Pro League. LDLC, one of our later teams today, being one of them. So definitely interesting to see that as well.
A lot of teams as well could be making their way back down.
Exactly.
Kingwin, for example.
Very interesting. But obviously, aside from that, be sure to check out our YouTube channel as well, where you can keep yourself up to date with all the matches that you may miss. Head over to youtube.com/ESLCS, and if you are there, what do, Harry?
You ring the bell, because then that way you know when we go live, so you don't miss anything. And if you do miss anything, we have a collection of VODs and whatnot available for you to go ahead and watch, so you can be fully caught up. There's no excuse. Exactly.
And as well as that pay safe card is going to be who you need to look out for. We actually have the fan vote of last month as well to see who the fans voted for, which players are most liked at least. So let's get that up on the screen now to at least work out who that is. And you can see it's Guardian, Dupree and Draken. Some interesting ones. I think Draken, namely so recently joining NIP, having good performance so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Draken. I'm very excited to see him there as well, kind of getting some recognition as well for just how talented he is. And it's kind of like the whole Rob's case, kind of these talents that are coming up and rising up. A lot of them as well coming from places like Premier and down in the Mountain Dew League, and then we see them migrating now to these, kind of tier 1 teams and having a big effect. Yeah,
definitely. But let's dive into said nitty-gritty now as we take a look at the first match of the night, Mousesports versus HellRaisers. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about, at least in recent performance. Also, the map pool. So the maps coming up today are going to be Mirage and Cash. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's neither that bad really for both teams. I'd say it does favour HR, kind of it's their best 2 maps, whereas when you look over at Mouse, it's I think it's their second kind of most played and third most played, but they've had good results on them nonetheless. Something like Cobblestone might have been able to favour them a little bit more, but still, coming out of it, it's not terrible. I do feel like they're the ones that we're going to be looking to maybe be the underdogs a little bit heading into this. Kind of hit and miss results now after a very, very good grace period initially within Pro League, but now kind of falling off a tiny bit maybe. Meanwhile, HR, they're just going from strength to strength, right? And that's the scary thing. We've seen them do some amazing stuff thus far, and it looks like they're just, they're getting stronger and stronger with every game they play.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like coming into this one, Mirage is the only one that realistically Mousesports can even take off HR. If they can do that, I'd be surprised. Going to Cash is just such a great map for HR. It always has been. They've been rivaling a lot of good teams on that. They've been getting good performances. I think they even beat FaZe on it in the first round over at Star Series finals. They beat the winners of the whole event on their best map. So interesting to see how Mousesports fare going into the first one, because I think that could definitely be close. But going into Cash, I'm quite scared for Mousesports, because despite adding Rops, him being a very good talent, him performing as well, which a lot of people were scared about whether he would do or not, whether he would choke as soon as he joined a proper team, he's actually been doing very well. So I mean, in theory, these guys could surprise and they could upset.
Yeah, and you know that's something you can't take away from Mouse, is they have had this new kind of injection of a talent. And usually when we see this happening amongst teams, we do see them have a kind of a grace period, or like a honeymoon period, where having you know, the new player introduced does significantly kind of boost their performance. You know, in their case as well, even kind of having Nico taken out the roster initially seemed to boost them quite substantially. So now having an injection of, you know, some Estonian talent is going to definitely help them along the way. But yeah, I mean, coming into this, I have to agree with you. When you look at Mirage, it's one that they've played, you know, a lot. They've got some convincing victories up against teams that have beaten HR in the past and whatnot. You know, when you kind of look for benchmarks in amongst it. Cash, meanwhile, is one that, you know, definitely more in favor of HR. I mean, they've played it a couple of times. The teams they have played against aren't that great anyway. So, you know, I mean, all the victories they kind of do have on that map, you can't really, you know, compare them to HR. It's like comparing apples and oranges. It just doesn't work. So.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit at least about Star Series, because obviously that's something that's being the main focal point. It was the first time that HellRaisers made it to, I think, the playoffs of a 250k event plus. So obviously on a 300k event, they made it all the way to the semis, if I'm correct, knocking out North 2-1 in the quarters, and then losing eventually to FaZe.
Yeah.
So there we go. Memory serves me
that
correct.
was good.
I know. So yeah, interesting to see them actually do so well at such a, you know, prestigious event there.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, kind of looking into that a little bit more, is it's a lot more interesting when you consider how they came into the year, right? When you kind of look at it as a broader scope of it all, HR came into this and they did terrible. You know, we saw them kind of bottom out of the DreamHack Las Vegas qualifiers. They didn't even make it through. You know, they had a lot of bad performances back to back, just losses across the board, time and time again. And I remember actually it was kind of in one of the Pro League games. Me and you were actually saying how it'd be nice to see them pick things up, and then we did see them get a couple of wins under their belt. Then they go to you know, Star Series, and they do phenomenally well. And no one, you know, it took everyone by surprise. We saw them just looking like such a refined unit, and you know, really at the top of their game. So to go from, you know, such a low point in kind of their careers across the board to now, you know, arguably seeing them in one of their best forms yet. You know, it really is a spectacle.
Yeah, and funnily enough, they've actually, since having some great performances recently in Pro League, they've actually, I think, re-signed with the org for a couple more years. So I think the org has trust in them. I think, personally, I have a lot of trust in them. I've been wanting to see them kind of rise through the ranks. They have so many individual talents, you know, Zero, Stico. I mean, I could go ahead and name the whole roster, because all of them individually are very good. It's not like they're lacking in firepower. But going into this one, it's still kind of a toss-up, because Mouse have had that switch in IGL, which is important to talk about. Dennis now taking on that role instead of Nico previously when he was in the roster, and I think that's at least changed in how they perform, because obviously you said it earlier, as soon as Nico left the roster, we went, oh, okay, well, Mousesports are now going to die. No, they've actually performed twice as good as they did, you know, previously to having him in the roster, which is such a big surprise considering he is such a good player. But maybe it was a switch up of at least cooling, now moving over to the hands of Dennis, that has changed them. So looking at this one, if they've done their work, they've done their research, they've done their practice, there's definitely a chance for them to take off a map at very least.
Yeah, and, you know, coming into Mirage, I think, you know, that's one that really kind of want to look to Dead Fox for, you know, on the side of Mouse to really try and open things up. I think, you know, he's done some phenomenal stuff for them. You know, there's a couple of players really who spring to mind. Not Dead Fox, sorry, that was for HR. I mean, I wonder why I messed that up so much. Yeah, Oscar for the... always getting them too confused. I'm not. That's never happened before. But yeah, Oscar, Lowell, and Rop's going to be my top three to keep an eye on there. And then for HR, now in the right order, I would say Dead Fox is the guy, you know, to keep your eye on. He's done some phenomenal stuff on that map.
Yeah, just picking up on him a little bit as well. A lot of people have been calling him inconsistent, which I would definitely agree with. But at Star Series, he had the event of his life. He was going off on so many maps. So to see Dead Fox, one of the most inconsistent AWPers that has the ability to turn around a game to perform so well on land is great to see. But we're just going to have a quick look at some of the flashes you can use over on Mirage, see if these teams will employ it later in the match.
Hey Future Pros! We are back on Mirage, but this time with a fantastic flash. This is for the CT side to use for mid-window and useful for retaking mid-control. To perform it, line yourself up at this point on the ground. Aim to the right side of this vent along the flaked off paint. Toss the flash, and this should hopefully catch an unsuspecting T off guard. Easy kills for you, good luck!
Okay, so we're back. So Harry, we've had a little bit of a talk saying, you know, there's potential for Mouse to take off a map, but let's just go straight into predictions in terms of who you think will win this matchup, who will win each map. What are you thinking?
You know, I mean, looking at it, I feel like I am going to lean the way of HR, obviously. It isn't one that you can maybe make such a clean-cut decision on there, because Mouse have had, you know, their moments where they've just shone through and kind of bested teams that, you know, we would expect them to never have beaten in a million years. Now with the addition of Rops, you know, coming into the roster, they've got a lot of extra firepower in that regard. Lol, as well as someone else who kind of in the beginning was very strong, and, you know, when they originally brought him in, I was very much looking forward to seeing how he did. And since then, you know, he's had a couple of quiet patches, been, you know, a little bit silent here and there, but whenever he does step up, he's a phenomenal player to watch. Oscar as well, you know, they're my top 3 very much so, to keep an eye on, especially on Mirage. Oscar, I think, is going to be the one to watch out for. He can counteract, you know, kind of so much, the likes of Dead Fox, for example. He's going to be the one you kind of want to see step up to tame the beast that is Dead Fox. Well, maybe not the beast, like you said, very inconsistent, does kind of suffer a little bit, but recently he has been on good form, so... Yeah.
Predictions, then?
Yeah, sorry. I'm going to go the way of... I'm going to say HR are going to take 2, but not to sit on the fence. I am just saying this, that Mouse could very easily cause an upset here.
All right, sitting on the fence indeed. Yeah. I'm gonna go the opposite route. I'm gonna suppose that Mousesports maybe have done a little more work than we would perceive, and I think Mirage could go their way. So I'm gonna go with a 1-1, but only to make things interesting, because this really is just a toss-up, right? It's not a clear-cut win by any regard.
And yeah, I mean, when we actually look at these maps and these two teams, interestingly enough, the last 2 times we've seen them play on these maps up against each other, HR did win both times on both Mirage and Cash. So, you know, a little bit of beef there. It's kind of the chance for revenge for Mouse, who on Cash had only really played up against kind of the lower tier competition up until coming up against HR, and we saw them get completely slaughtered, if you recall, 16-3. Wasn't really a pretty match by any stretch of the imagination, but this is their chance to show, you know, they've figured out the kinks in, you know, in the cogworks and whatnot. And it's their chance to come back.
Definitely, and the other one being 16-12 on Mirage, so more potential now for Mousesports to make that 12 or 16 themselves and get themselves over the finish line. I think there's a really good chance, but all players are on the server currently, so we'll be jumping in just a few minutes, I hope. And I mean, talking about this matchup, we've kind of gone over everything we need to see. Yeah. You've mentioned a little bit your favourite players. You've mentioned mainly 3 for Mousesports. I think that's cheating. Give me your MVP of both teams. Okay,
my MVP is going to be Oscar for the side of Mouse, and... You see, for HR, it's difficult, right? Because, I mean, usually I want to say 0, but he's someone who can have very, very commandeering performances, but then also sometimes can be very quiet, and I kind of like him for that fact. I was always kind of drawn to the players who are a bit 50-50, and if they're not going huge, then they are kind of terrible, which, you know, maybe that's just because kind of how I am, but... no, I'm going to have to say Dead Fox, at least, on Mirage. So, yeah, for the first map, I'm going to go Oscar and Mirage. Oscar and Dead Fox. Yeah, we'll get there eventually. Words are hard. Messing up names.
I'm gonna personally jump on the hype train. I'm going to go with Rops for the side of Mousesports. Yeah? I'm going to... I've got to stick with Dead Fox, right? As inconsistent as he is, you know, he's a talent, so we'll go with him. But maybe you have a favourite player, or maybe you have a favourite team. If you would like to buy the jersey, head over to the ESL store now. You can pick yourself one up, one of those. Get maybe one for Mousesports, one for HellRaisers, one for both.
Yeah, and then sew them both together in holy matrimony, and then that way you can just support either one. That is the ultimate form of sitting on the fence. But yeah, you know, coming into this. You know, I do think it would be nice to see Mouse take this one out. And like you said, everyone's in the server, so he should be getting in shortly. But yeah, I'd hate to see Mouse kind of be on the Rops a little bit here with their... Oh, that's terrible.
That's a bad pun.
But yeah, I mean... That's been a major thing to look at, is how could he do it. It's a lot of pressure, you've got to imagine, right? Kind of, I believe he's 17, so he is young talent coming into this, and a lot of eyes are on him, because it was a fairly kind of questionable move bringing him in the first place. If you're Mouse, it's quite a risk to take, even though he has proven himself. He caused quite a stir in FPL, but yeah, I mean, you know, bringing him in, all eyes are going to be on him still. I mean, you know, it's been a while since he was brought in, and he has kind of proven himself, but I still feel like he's at that point where everyone's got their eyes on him, and they're saying, for the most part, that it's worked. So, you know, I think he would be someone else I'd say to keep an eye on heading into this.
Yeah, I'm excited to eventually see him on LAN as well. Maybe there's a chance that Mousesports could even make the LAN.
Maybe he's even better.
Exactly. At least in standings, they're 5th place currently. So there's a really good chance they could actually, you know, make the LAN finals. Obviously, we're not exactly at the end. There's still a few more weeks to kind of round things out. But, you know, there's always potential, and that is the interesting factor. But apparently we're having technical issues on one of the players, so we will just be showing the top 5 plays of the last week for you guys while we wait for the match to start.
Taco is going to have a big amount of players to stop on himself. However, gets 2, almost 3 of them. One's dropped down to about 7 HP, and he gets both of them as well. This is the problem, is now they didn't even push everybody back in, so Fallen has to roll in, but he gets 2, 3, massive headshot.
Here I go. Just needs to play the information. Good shot from Config. Goes early.
Shocking.
Gets all 3.
Mousesports might find this difficult, but again, Sixer just gets isolated all alone. Scream taps away, finds Lol, but still, this is not over yet.
Yeah, man, XMS and Happy having to quickly rotate across, but it's Scream! And XMS was 2 for Scream already, and make it another one. 4 kills for him.
Nappy goes down 5 on 4 just like that, and it's going to be even more for Flush. A double kill, triple kill. What in God's name is that?
Welcome back. I think another scary thing to talk about, right, is the standings. You're getting a bit worried already. You're shaking, you're trembling in your boots.
There's too much scary things going on right now.
Exactly, very scary.
It's terrible.
I know. It's a nightmare. But yeah, we're going to get the standings up on the screen for you guys in just a sec, so we can at least talk about that. But one thing to talk about, I think, is how HellRaisers have at least dropped, okay? We talked about them being, inconsistent at the start of Pro League. They made their way to something like top 4, top 5. Now they're currently sitting at 8th place. So having a bit of a struggle in that sense. But if you look at their actual points, they need quite a few wins to really get back up into the region where they may be able to make LAN finals. Because right now, Astralis, Na'Vi, Mouse, they're already dominating at the top. Whereas HellRaisers really having their issues in that sense, despite having good performance.
Yeah, alternatively, on the complete flip side, if we actually see them pick both of these up today, then they're just suddenly going to shoot up that board and be, kind of up there with the group of them, kind of nearing that. I think they would be in the top 5. Yeah, they would. I think they'd still then place. I can't remember how it's done, but I think they'd actually go above Mouse, but Mouse still have more games left to play, obviously by quite a significant margin. So yeah, that is something that's going to play into it. But we could see them in theory make it into that top 5 spot, which would very much be interesting. There's a lot on the line for them here. On Mouse, if they pick up 1, we're going to see them propel up towards the top. I mean, if they get 2, then they're going to secure themselves first place, depending on the outcome of the game that's going on stream number 1. So
yeah, I think to say Mousesports could realistically pick up both maps is a bit of a...
it is.
It's a bit of a straw to grasp.
You never know. I mean, Mousesports, they're full of surprises, and they're full of talent. And, those two things put together is a terrifying mix to play up against.
Yeah, and I mean, you said earlier that Rops has been in the roster for a while, in the sense that in esports he's been in the roster a while, 3 weeks. So, that's a month in esports, apparently. But, still... I think they haven't really had enough time to fully place him into the team as, maybe a month or 2 down the line. He will be incorporated absolutely fine. Obviously, individually, he has issues in the sense that he obviously still is at school. He's very young, so that will limit him in the sense of practice time with Mouse. But still, I think after a month or 2, if they make it to LAN finals and he is obviously still on the roster, that would be pretty phenomenal. I think he could be really, really good. So it's nice to see how he can continue in the matches tonight.
And, of course, the LAN environment is completely different to that of, an online environment. Online's kind of a lot more, laid back. There's not as much pressure put on you. You don't have all that pressure of, the eyes in the audience kind of digging into you. And, that can make or break a lot of players. When you look at kind of people like VP, they thrive on the back of that. When we see them on LAN, they look like a whole different team. When we see them online, you could think maybe you've got some like T2 kind of pros standing in for them. It is a very big difference between the two, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what happens to Robs when he gets on the that LAN environment, seeing if he is still this one of these driving forces behind Mouse. Will he get better, or will he just kind of fall off a little bit as a result? Because it is a steep learning curve having to adjust to that sort of setting. Yeah,
I think he's been to local LANs, but obviously nothing the size of what professional teams will be attending. So when he actually makes it to his first proper LAN, it will be interesting to say the least. But we are just going to be waiting for the players to fix their technical issues. We're going to be jumping to a short break before that, and we'll be back with you in just a second.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Legion by Lenovo, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ESL.com! 2 big shots in a row, and Phoenix about to bring it back now. All on Nico. Trying to see if they can get the defuse, and Nico. Oh no, Phoenix! Has to keep Virtus Pro alive. Taco wants closer. AW. He's looking for a look. He's gonna get a hit by headshot again. Oh my god.
And we're back, and we're going to be going into the game in just a second. The server issues have been resolved. Whew, we're happy.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, that means, you know, the filling segment can finally be all over. I was, you know, good timing as well. These are all blank at this point. So, yeah, I was in real trouble. But, yeah, I'm very much excited to be finally getting into this. Thank you all, you know, for understanding and just kind of waiting around. We should be in, as the tech issues have finally been resolved. We're just waiting for the server to go ahead and be live. But we've been informed that it's all green and ready to go.
correct.
Yeah.
So, before the game, we gave a little bit of predictions. We gave, obviously, our MVPs. Who do you think, at least on the side of...
We've given everything, Hugo.
Yeah, there's nothing else. There's nothing else.
Who do I think is going to do bad? I don't know.
Yeah, let's do that. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Who do you think is going to be the weakest link on both of these teams?
Okay. This is a horrible segment.
Yeah.
We'll go with this.
Go on.
Individually,
Yeah.
I'm going to go with, on the side of Mousesports, maybe Dennis.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. I can agree with you there.
HellRaisers. I think you're just putting this on me because you don't know who's going to do bad. You just want to piggyback off my prediction.
I was going to suggest Dennis, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, of course. You can. Yeah,
Chris J is good on Mirage.
Over on the side. Oh, no, I don't have to fill anymore. This is great. We're going into the game. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're live. We're here. We're ready. Mousesports versus HellRaisers, Harry.
Yeah, thank God. The pistol round going to be underway as we can see Mousesports over on the CT side, HellRaisers kicking things off on the T side. And already 3 players for the side of HellRaisers over towards middle as they look to try and create a bit of ruckus out here. Just biding their time for the time being as we can see. They're going to have some reinforcements making their way up through apps, looking like they could split down short and in towards B. You can see Zero posted up, waiting to see if LoL wants to get aggressive. While everyone else now making their way over towards middle, actually. Looks like Oscar's going to be caught out in the open. Will be tagged down low a little bit, but does retreat and stays alive for the time being, but Angel in lower tunnels. He's the one they've got to watch out for right now. He's kind of the thorn in their sides. While the rest of the team grab control of the top mid, he's able to push on out as a result. No player and winner to back him up. And actually, Oscar going to hit the deck over towards short. He also tags down Dennis in the meantime in through connector. And now up through short, they go in swinging and they take out Chris J. Dead Fox just going to execute LoL, leaving it a 2-on-5 retake scenario. But Robs, he's going to make it difficult for them. Okay, buddy, 2 frags for him as he turns it into a 2-on-3.
Now the retake's on. Bomb going to be down, but Zero's eliminated Dennis in the meantime, so it's all on Rops. And Ace is going to be needed to pick up this pistol round. Frankly, it does not look realistic, but he's going to give his best shot. He starts to move on in. They don't need to peek in this. They can just play the close range. They have still a Glock on one of the players, but USPs are going to be great to fight at a range, but Rops gets himself another one, looking for 2 more. There's one towards short, one on the default site spot as well, as Rops, low on ammo, continues to round the corner. He gets another headshot. It's all onto Angel now defending from short. No need to peek, but Rops is hunting. The time is low. He just needs 1 single bullet to the head, and he will land it, Robs. That is absolutely crazy. May he have time for the defuse as well? Yes, he does. He's got himself a kit. What are we watching, Harry?
What is this kid made of? That was a spectacle. He is absolutely ridiculous. 5 frags for him, the ace in the pistol. And we were saying about, you know, he's the new talent brought in. He's got to try and prove himself in a big way. And he does it. 5 frags, clutches things out. 1v3 there towards the end. I mean, I just want to stroke his face.
I don't know what to say. I mean, a complete throwaway from HellRaisers. No need to peek towards the site as well, especially the first player on bench going down. That was a bit just overzealous. You can easily hold a crossfire from both site and short and bench. There was no need for peeks there, but either way, great performance from Rops to actually pick that one up and even has the time for the defuse now. So it's Mousesports who are going to be buying up quad UMP, full pistols on HellRaisers, and already Stiko's out.
Yeah, you can already see this. Kind of made the bomb fall on back over towards T-spawn. The aggression in mid means they can't actually push up through short as they would have hoped. Going to also mean very fast rotates over towards B up through short for the side of Mouse. So that bomb's actually going to rotate background over towards ramp and looks like it might make its way out towards A. But Oscar, quick on the trigger, going to be able to find the first. As Angel hits the deck, looking to try and get a little bit more bang for his buck, and he does exactly that. $1,200 farmed up at present as he picks up a second on a dead Fox. Bondic next to go down, and well, Zero sees nothing but the waiting arms of Dennis there over towards the ramp as he rips through his soft, fleshy face.
Yeah, another full buy coming up from HellRaisers. Mousesports going to go for the bonus round here, sticking with the UMPs. Now, I think if you're going to go for the bonus, you may as well commit to 4 UMPs. No point reinvesting in any of them, because the whole point is you're meant to rebuy the next round if you do lose this and attempt to get a reset. But HellRaisers are going to have plenty to work with after that bomb plant down on the pistol round. So this is going to be their chance to at least get back revenge from Rops's ace. As we can see, Rops going to be the only man posted towards middle. He has got the only rifle for the team. Smoke will go down, that will hold him off, and a bit of presence down towards B as Zero looks for an opening kill. They are looking to do similar work as they did in the pistol round, but this time we're more focused towards A as Angel picks up Oscar over in Palace. It's Chris J to get aggressive, looking to trade this frag out, and he may do so, but Angel removes his head, goes in for a third, but Dennis eventually trades. Man advantage still in the favor of HellRaisers.
Yeah, they've made their way out towards A as well. Bondic sneaking on out through Palace after he found that first frag. He's got to watch out because Dennis is quick on the hunt coming in from behind. The bomb's actually rotating background over towards T-spawn. They've still got Zero over towards B, who could be the thorn in their side. But right now, they're kind of relying on Dennis to try and open this up. And Bondic gonna be able to spot him out. Down he goes. That means that A site completely fallen now. The bomb rotating in very, very swiftly as Rops and Lol. They find themselves isolated all the way over towards B, while the A site crumbles around. The bomb's going to go down, and it's 2-on-4. I imagine we might just see them opt to save here. They didn't invest too much to begin with anyway. I mean, it was, as you said, the round they tried to get for free. Very little actually put into it on their behalf, so they can afford to buy up next time anyway. And if they can save that rifle on Rops, the UMP on Lol as well, then it's just going to be, that little bit extra to take the edge off of buying next round.
Either way, they can reinvest. It doesn't matter. If they save 2 players or 0, they've still got to buy next round, just due to the money that they saved from keeping all 5 players alive in the second round on those UMPs. So, not going to be an issue. We may even see the AWP in play now come out for HellRaisers as Angel did go down. They should have the cash to actually reinvest in that. But, oh no, apparently not. But yeah, maybe so on Mousesports at least. Loss bonus not very big, but Dennis will just have enough. But then again, he would have to throw that over to Oscar. So it wouldn't make much sense. I think we're just going to be sticking with rifles for the time being. Still, HellRaisers finally got a round on the board, but this leaves them susceptible now to the reset of Mouse. The AWP does come out there. Rops.
Yeah.
Double AWP.
Drops from Rops, and Chris J is going to have one as well. The double AWP setup employed over on the side of Mousesports as they keep the UMP on Lol. And actually, this is interesting because HellRaisers don't really have anything to counteract. They're just AKs across the board, lots of utility between them, and we can see mid's going to be the order of the day. But Oscar, he's posted up here with the AWP, and he's going to be trying to lock down this prime real estate to keep HR out of mid. Now the smoke's going to go down. It will force him back for the time being. He's going to be quick to reposition over towards Connector, along with Dennis. They double peek on out to try and secure some ground over in middle. Dennis just peeking over the top of the smoke. Angel might be walking him in his crosshair any second now. Right now, HellRaisers employing the same sort of default strategy time and time again. They send Zero over here towards this B site to exert some pressure, try and find an entry, but if he doesn't, it's all good. He's keeping a player from rotating. But actually, he's going to go a lot more aggressive than he has done in the previous rounds, pushing on up around the smoke, trying to spot out Lol over here towards B. The bomb, meanwhile, making its way up towards Connector, looking like they could actually split out over here towards this A, so especially where Bondic is right now. He can very quickly rotate up through ramp, and they can pincer on out. Rops is on the site, backed up by Oscar. The dynamic duo of Mousesports here to try and lock things down, but it's Chris J I'm keeping an eye on over towards short. He can deal some serious damage.
Yeah, it's all a game of timing. Who peaks first, Chris J or HellRaisers? And it will be Chris. He takes the first kill. Dead Fox is dropped. Angel was split into the window, and perfect timing from him. He catches Dennis with his pants down, face towards the wrong side as he goes down. It's just Rops now left on the site, and Oscar supporting towards the CT spawn. The Molotov doesn't land, but Oscar does the damage towards ramp, taking down the first, and Rops will peek out as well. Doesn't even need the help of a flash as he removes Angel and goes for more, but Stiko and Zero will eventually combine. We're back into a 2-on-2 with a bomb. It's still stuck in mid.
Yeah, and Chris J's in a great spot to try and deny it. Instead, going to actually opt to go aggressive as he doesn't spot the bomb out towards middle. They are going to pick it up, and now he's here in this 1-on-2 over towards this A site, waiting for Lol to try and get into a good position to help him out as he rotates on the long rotate in through ramp. But down he goes. He gets his head removed. It is going to be a 2-on-1. Lol over on ramp has the UMP, spots out the first player, and Stiko going to rotate around, doesn't land the shot. So turning into a 1-on-1 now, trying to play for this bomb. He doesn't exactly know where Zero is, but he has an idea that he was over here towards jungle. Instead, he is going to be in connector. Spots him out, but down he goes. And then will be HellRaisers to find themselves a second round on the back of a 3K from Zero. He clutches things out in that one-on-one as they pick it up. And this is where, we can start to see them build up that T-side economy. And that's where Mousesports have to start to get a little bit worried. They're actually going to opt to invest into this, which is an interesting decision to make. But they have got a fairly decent buyout behind them. Couple of UMPs and M4 on Oscar. And looks like he's going to take the AWP instead.
Yeah, Lau left with a pistol with no armor. And I'm confused in that previous round where Lau actually didn't peek out when the bomb was being planted so open. Maybe he didn't hear the plant sound, but he should have over from ramp. It might have been a communication issue. Either way, it's interesting to see them throw over the AWP. While obviously you would expect it on Oscar, Lau's really now left with nothing. He's almost eco into this round, so he can have no effect. But Oscar definitely can, and he can make up for the lack of armor on Lau as he picks up the first kill towards connector. Angel's going to be down, but HellRaisers storming in towards short.
Yeah, and Deadfox going to be on the entry. Doesn't need an AWP when he's got himself a trusty AK. Oscar rotating around. They're going to try and deny this. Gets himself a second now, looking to try and defend this site on his own, but he will fall. It's all on LOL here, but he's been boosted up. And right now they haven't checked it. Zero is out from Apps. Wants Broken Wall just trying to hold it for the time being, but he hasn't checked this angle just yet, and there's a lot of pressure on LOL. They're not going to check it, and actually Sneeko does spot him out. So he will go down. It is all on Rops, 1v3, but we've seen him in this exact scenario before. This time he's only got a UMP to play around and he's sneaking up from short.
Yeah, realistically not going to happen. They've got too many weapons to work with, and Sneeko will just remove his head. HellRaisers take the lead now in their favor, 3-2. And this time we're not going to see Mousesports buy. They've continued to do so, but this time they really have got nothing to work with. Just P250s are going to be invested across the CT side as HellRaisers equip a UMP just to farm up some cash on Angel. He can get himself that $600 kill reward that is so gracious here on the T side. So Mousesports now, I'm expecting maybe a stack, something aggressive. If you just play default over on these pistol rounds, you typically get nothing done. They're actually going to go for a fairly default setup, maybe a bit of mid-control here towards the connector, but other than that, nothing too special. A double stack, in fact, as HellRaisers start to push in aggressively. It's Angel, the one man you got to watch out for with that weapon, but Dennis takes the head off, and Bondik will respond with 2. Make that 3 as Sneeko picks up the 3rd, and HellRaisers, they have locked down mid.
Yeah, it's all on LOL. The crossfire was set up, but ultimately, as Chris J went down over towards short, he just gets completely and utterly dominated there by HR. Looking like it was 50 Shades of J, sorry, over towards middle was... They completely locked that down. 2-4. HellRaisers are going to find themselves with a fairly comfortable lead right now. Nice bit of money up behind them as well. Mousesports able to buy on down as a result of ecoing in that last round. Do have a AWP to play around with. It looks like it might stay on Chris J though. Instead of being tossed over to Oscar, he's going to opt to stick with the M4. So curious to see how they switch this up. I mean, still going to be Chris J playing over towards short, I imagine. He can help hold mid with Oscar. They're going to be employing a bit of a boost though on the side of HR as you see Sneeko trying to spot out mid there.
They are putting a lot of emphasis towards mid on the side of Mousesports because they constantly have this connector short crossfire and then even a player in window, rotating back and forth between there and jungle. So it's nice to see a lot of mid control, and that means you can at least take the pressure off the window player and he can also focus towards Palace on the A site. But obviously it's only going to take a few rounds for HellRaisers to realize this, and they can easily counteract that by just going for a full smoke A take, completely, getting rid of the Palace holder over from jungle and leaving only Rops alone on the site. So I think they may realize that soon, but HellRaisers just faking things out this time towards mid. Bomb is going to be making its way inside of Palace, and 3 players set up outside of the B site, so I'm expecting maybe some smokes over for them to rotate down into the connector and then commit towards A late round. But 3 players are still here, and actually Mousesports have completely given up mid control right now. They are just playing passive, and this is the right way to play as well, considering they have no information on the whereabouts of HellRaisers, just waiting for these Ts to walk into their crosshairs. As Dennis, he holds off passively for the window boost. Other than that, they've really got no control, but they've got to be a bit wary of connector here.
Yeah, there's those smokes going out towards B, as you said. Now, this could potentially fake the rotate out, but whatever happens, it does mean these players on B are going to stay firmly here, but Chris J's going to find the first as Zero goes down, swiftly traded out by Sneeko, but this has allowed the players on A to make their way out. As they try and cross out in the open, though, it's going to get completely shut down. They do find one. Deadfox able to defend Bondik there on the bomb plant. It gets put into a 2-on-2 now. Dennis in CT, got to try and make a difference here, coming on in, very, very hot on their heels on the rotate, finds that first, down goes Deadfox, and it's all on Bondik. 14 HP in a dream. He spots that one player towards connector, but no, LOL fast on the trigger. Does just guillotine him there, and that's going to be a round for Mousesports. Finally, they get one back in return, starting to chip away at the economy of HellRaisers, which is kind of what we were hoping to see. Otherwise, this T side just going to be allowed to get up and run with it. Their economy looking to be very strong already. And this is a step in the right direction for Mouse, who do manage to save the other AWP as well. So now they can employ that double AWP setup once again. Arguably, it didn't really work out for them last time, but I feel like, we've kind of seen Chris J being able to put it to good use over towards short in those last couple of rounds. Curious to see if this one's going to go to Oscar to hold mid, and then we're just going to have that double AWP set up on middle, as we've kind of seen. That's been the power combo to hold mid.
Yeah, I like the way they've been playing mid at least, but you can't employ that every single round. You need to make sure you switch things up occasionally. So let's at least see how they position up into this one. And if they just go for the default single window player and then just have a passive connector player over towards the stairs. But it's Oscar going for the peek through the Molotov, very brave, and he actually doesn't get burned too much either. Will be able to go for the shot, but actually misses it. It's Rops now towards close on ramp. They jump in through the smoke on the side of HellRaisers, but not connecting anything. He's on 2 kills. How are they going to stop him? Apparently they're not. Pistol's out for 2 himself. He even pulls up the AWP and goes for a 4th, but Bondic does say no. He will be traded though. And Mousesports, just seconds in, will shut down HellRaisers. Any words?
No, I'm lost for words right now. Rops is just a beast over on this CT side. He's stepping up in a big way. Currently top of the board, 10 and 5. Yeah, as a lot of people have kind of been pointing out, he's been someone who has kind of seen himself at the top of the board quite a fair bit for Mouse, despite being the least experienced on the team. So, interesting to say the least. This round, though, aggression over towards mid from HellRaisers. Oscar looking to try and counteract this. The boost employed once again, and isn't going to catch anyone out just yet. Dennis playing in connector does have the crossfire set up with Chris J. The smoke's going to go down from Chris J on short. That's going to allow him to peek on out, but he doesn't spot anyone out in middle, and that's because HellRaisers, once again, they've watched for early aggression. Now they fall on back. And imagine we're just going to see them try and make some magic happen. I mean, we could actually see mid come out. Judging by Zero's positioning, he's currently watching low as he can be able to push on out and then flank him with these guys over towards top mid, isolate Chris J, and find themselves some sort of opener. But with how they're set up, all their opportunities are open up to them still. Bondic over there towards A, 2 players over at B, and all the map really under their control right now.
Yeah, this is really difficult for HellRaisers because they've got no information. They've only got a minute left on the clock. They need to garner themselves something sooner rather than later as they start to make their way finally out into middle. The smoke is down in window. That will hold Dennis back as he rotates back into the CT spawn and actually drops in towards B. Seem to be expecting some kind of B take here, but with no information, this is such a risky play as the connector push is going to come in for HellRaisers. They're committing towards the A side of the map. Steeko's already up over on the stairs. There's only 1 player to defend here. Angels removed Dennis from the rotation, and it's all onto Oscar here in CT spawn as well as Rops now over on the Palace, but he's dead. So's Oscar. What is happening right now? HellRaisers is just removing faces as Mousesports are just left on 2 players, and they seem to be saving towards the B site.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure HR are going to let them get away with this. They're rapidly closing in like moths to a flame over here towards B. Angel going to be the first one to try and make contact. Him or Dead Fox, so they round the corner. We do see Chris J caught out. That's going to be the AWP gone. It's all on LOL to try and save. He does get one at least, but now I know where he is. And like vultures to a corpse, HellRaisers just swarming around him now, coming in from all sides, trying to lock down every angle before they go in. Don't want to let him do too much damage, but they want to try and get this M4 off of him. With only 14 HP, it will be an easy pickup there for Angel. And that's going to be the 5th for HellRaisers. They find themselves once again back in that driving seat. A little bit of money starting to accrue behind them, but Mousesports themselves going to be in a fine and dandy situation to buy up into this. Not going to have, the best amount of utility when you look at it across the board. Also, I don't think we're going to be seeing the AWP come out. Rob's actually relegated down to a 5-7, so, is it really that good of a buy when you look at it? Don't have the utility to hold back a significant push from HR, and already, see the Oscar's holding mid. Dennis is rotated around hold from connector, but this is the same setup time and time again, and it's not really working out for them right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's important HellRaisers at least took that last gun off of Lau. If they let him get away with that, now we would see a gun on Rops, but Lau at least himself going to get himself a first kill over towards this A site. As you can see, now a man advantage taken for the side of Mousesports, and Dennis looking like he wants to push here into middle as he just sits over aggressively towards connector. It's Angel now down the bottom. He may be probing himself as he starts throwing the utility. That will hold off the cross. That means they can easily take this mid control and even split up towards short. Alternatively, he can just push it through, and it's going to be Dennis who goes aggressive, gets taken out. Angel turns back around, but he's focused by 2 targets. Lau will take him down, and now HellRaisers is looking to take back this man advantage. The smoke is still down over towards connector. That will allow them to freely peek, but Oscar, look at his position. He's going to be ready, but unfortunately, Dead Fox peeks in. Bad timing for him, as only 1 will be found before the trade comes in. However, Mousesports are still sitting with a man advantage, and Rops' position is great considering the bomb.
Yeah, they're going to completely bypass him here. Now, they should think that maybe someone could be wrapped. They're not going to be able to clear it, so as they do make their way on through, I imagine we should see Dead Fox actually check this, but Rops isn't going to be too quick to peek on out. He has a perfect crossfire setup with Chris J as well, who can call when that bomb gets planted. Then we can see the rotate come out from LOL. Now, Chris J is going to get spotted. They go for the double peek, and he gets 1, but then Bondic is there to trade. This is where Rops is going to be in a strong position, but actually that bomb's going to be rotating around. LOL's in a great place to try and deal with this, and Bondic, he's got to watch out. Only 15 seconds left. Goes running on in at a full mercy of LOL, who just completely cuts him down there. That is going to be the equalizer found from Mouse. Still, though, when you look at their money, they've been facing fairly heavy casualties time and time again. The buy into this round isn't going to be too ideal in spite of, you know, picking up that last round.
Yeah, the ball's going to be coming in as well. Yet to know what that really is for. But HellRaisers, yeah, the money is going to be the main issue coming into this one. They haven't got a full buy against themselves unless they, you know, invest in a couple of UMPs or go for some Tech 9s. 2 players on 2,500, which isn't really enough to fully commit to a rifle, obviously. But either way, we'll be jumping right back in now. So interested to see what HellRaisers make do with this economy and whether they actually commit to the full buy, or if they stick just with maybe you know, a light investment round, buy down to 3,000-ish, 2,000 maybe, and play off the loss bonus in the next one. I think this would be a bit of a throwaway for them not to buy up, because the UMPs are still currently so, you know, damaging in the current meta. You can play to their advantages, get, you know, close in connector, or go for some kind of B charge and maybe make use of them. So may as well commit to the investment here.
The thing is right now from Mouse, I mean, it's 5-5, you know, it's kind of all even right now, but really we should start to see them pull ahead at some point. I mean, you know, Mirage is probably one of the more even maps right now within the map pool. You should normally kind of, it doesn't really matter as much as other maps, you know, there isn't really a definitive kind of side. A lot of people argue it is slightly CT-sided, but I think a lot of it just comes down to the team that's playing on it. And, you know, HellRaisers is just such a dynamic team. They fare so well on that T side. Mouse really need to try and figure something out, though. They've been trying to hold mid time and time again, and the one thing that kind of keeps being that, you know, that crux for them is the fact that you've got Angel, who plays in through lower tunnels, and he plays it perfectly. You know, time and time again, we see him waiting around through lowers, seeing if anyone goes for that aggression out towards mid. If he does, he's there to shut it down. If they don't go aggressive, then, you know, that just allows him to sneak his way through connector and then find some sort of entry. Their control of mid on the side of HellRaisers has been, you know, pivotal to their success, and it's something that, you know, on a whim, if they want control of mid, they get control of mid, and we haven't really seen too much in the way of stopping that from Mouse. And in the rounds that they have, HellRaisers, they know exactly when to go ahead and just leave mid, relinquish control back up to the CT side. And I mean, you know, it's been kind of a perfect play from them almost, you know, completely textbook, I would say. And they've kind of got that seed of doubt in the head of Mousesports almost. You know, you can tell how aggressively they go out in towards mid. Normally they have 3 or 4 players there in the kind of beginning to clear it out and make sure there's no one there from HR. But they expend so much utility, you know, they spend so much time focusing on that one area of the map that really, I would say, you know, HellRaisers right now kind of have Mouse almost at their mercy a little bit in that regard. Yeah, it's very important they've been doing these kind of mid takes as well, considering the aggression that Mouse have had towards mid with this crossfire from short connector as well as a window control. So it's nice to see HellRaisers at least playing safe. And yeah, they actually get 4 rifles out of this one. 1 Deagle and Deadbox. I think he's dropped over a rifle because he has no armor on himself either, as he's now relegated to pretty much nothing. And HellRaisers, I mean, they can make this work with 4 rifles, but they need to hit their shots. And so far, Zero has not. He's down to 30 HP towards the B apartments, not being able to find anything in return either. And while neither team has an AWP in play, HellRaisers is still fighting a disadvantage. But Angel, again, you called him out for being very good so far this match, and he will continue that. Picks up drops. Yeah, going to be able to get himself a second as well, as it's a 2-for-1 over towards that A site. Still hasn't been dealt with just yet. Looking to try and see if he can find anything else. The bomb's very quickly rotating around. Chris J looking to try to be the linchpin in this one. The sway of this definitely in his hands as he goes aggressive up towards top mid. Could deny the rotate, but ideally, you know, you wouldn't really want him to be discovered by Zero. Instead, you want him to allow this player to cross, rejoin the rest of the guys, and then come in for that ultimate backstab onto the encroaching HellRaisers players over here towards the A site. Dennis is positioned to deal with this, but LoL going for a similar style of flank really at this point means they're going to be so far out of this site. This round's almost kind of slipped away from them. You're very much relying on Chris J to try and open this up, and even then he has to get 2 or 3 frags for it to be even worth it. As he does come in, Zero is positioned to watch the flank. Will go down, but now they know exactly where Chris J is. And LoL's here as well, which is a little bit unusual. He's going to get caught throwing away the UMP at the wrong time, but LoL is there to try and trade things out. Doesn't get any work done. And then Dennis lasts to fall. That's a nice cleanup there from HellRaisers in a round that really, I mean, I was expecting to see a little bit more come out from Mouse there. Yeah, I mean, as soon as you get put into that retake situation when you're a man down and you don't have any site control at all, any chance to refrag anything back into a equal advantage, it's a bit of a dire situation, but it didn't help when Chris got instantly traded after picking up that first kill, making it basically impossible. But now we just see a pistol. Oscar going to be on a P250. Rest of them bare bones here on the CT side, and HellRaisers even still sticking with the rifles now. Deadbox obviously won't have the most money in terms of buying up that AWP. He did have to drop over the guns in the previous round, but still, it should just be a clean cut for HellRaisers, you'd like to think, not losing too many players, and they're going to go for the safest option with the full smokes over towards A. Yeah, this is exactly what we were saying about the mind games for middle. Mousesports, they stack everyone there to try and counteract the mid play, and HellRaisers, they've got everyone over here towards A. Now, luckily enough for them, the rotates are very, very fast, at least, in towards this A site, but they're still locked out thanks to all these smokes. The utility usage is pivotal here for HR. That nade looking to try and slam dunk the CT player, and Rops, well, he's looked healthier before, going to be tagged down at 36 HP already before even making his way into the site. And it's Angel looking to try and pad those stats. Only able to get one. The trade's going back and forth, and ultimately you should just expect to see HR lock this one out. But ultimately right now, I mean, these USPs doing some serious work, and they're looking to try and make it costly, putting it in with 2-on-2, but then Zero in with the quick flicks. The nice spray transfer there at the end to find both those frags, and that is going to be HR now. 2 rounds ahead of Mouse. And I mean, the economy, when you look over to the side of Mouse, isn't too great. So the buy into this round, 2 UMPs. At least you do get utility on those players, but it's not ideal.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate. This is just the game of HellRaisers locking down on Mousesports' economy. They've brought in the double AWP twice now previously. Not too much effect with it, but also that's really crippled them in terms of the buy. Lau and Rops now left with UMPs, so I don't really know how much I can get done with this, but as I say that Oscar opening things up, it always seems like as soon as one team is favoured, the opposite team will start to do well. As the opening kill going to go the way of the CT side here, as HellRaisers still start to pressure this B side of the map. The bomb is here, they have 3 players ready and waiting, and Zero looking to counteract the pick towards A by just charging into the B site. But Chris, he's repositioned, he's playing close, and he will get flashed out, but there's Lau to support him, so this setup is really good. 2 towards short, essentially, as Mousesports start to pick up the kills left, right, and centre, but the trades do come in. Zero does take him down. They still haven't cleared out the site, though, as one more remains. Oscar just kicking and screaming, trying to hold off these defending players. Zero, he will pick up another one, but it's still a 2-on-2, and the bomb is down for the CT side.
Yeah, Oscar's done such a good job of just buying time for the rotate to come in from Rops. It is going to be a 2-on-2, as you said, but both of these players for Mouse up and close to the site. Bomb's going to be down in the open as well, so they are the ones in control. You're kind of looking at Stico ready to try and open this up, and actually might be able to peek out to Oscar, who gets the first, but now the trade comes in from Stico. It's a 1-on-1. Rops versus Stico, and he's going to spot him out, but no, Rops lands the shot, and it just seems to be like time and time again, you can rely on him to clutch things out. You can see Oscar's risen up the board to take that first place spot, but you can't deny the fact that Rops has been putting in some serious work for the side of Mouse. A 6-7 scoreline, money to buy up once again. It's not going to be ideal still. Chris J going to be on the scout, but if anything, you know, it's a weapon we've seen him have some, you know, some amazing success with.
Yeah, one of the best scout players, I think most people can agree, or at least has been in the past before it was nerfed last year. So yeah, very good to see. I mean, this match so far is just neither team, you know, managing to maintain their economy. Have been reset so many rounds. Double AWPs coming in, just getting crushed, and no eco wins at least, but you know, UMP buy wins and stuff like that. So it's really hard to see, you know, either team maintain an economy. And once again, HellRaisers seem to be crushed out of this round as Mousesports have all the rifles to play with. The mid control going to be heavily in the favour of the CT side. One kill will go the way of Zero, but instantly traded. There's nothing they can get from that. And Bondic just trying to sneak his way out onto the A site with the P250. If he could even get 1 kill, I'd be impressed, as Rops is ready and waiting. Mousesports have got themselves 7 rounds, and it's all for the 8th here, as HellRaisers do have the money for the buy.
Yeah, so neither side actually going to be able to fund an AWP into this. It's just going to be rifles on rifles, as we see M4s and AKs pretty much across the board. Plenty of utility here for either side, so really this one's just going to come down to a very, very even distribution of skill across the board to see who can try and win this one out. 3 players looking to try and take mid for HellRaisers, but a great counter coming on in the form of Oscar and Dennis over towards Connector to try and shut this down. They switched up positions, and this could catch HellRaisers off guard. Chris J going to be able to find the first on a Zero. Already that lurk player over towards B just taken down early on. Oscar looking to try and put more hurt down range. The dispatch of Stico further extending that man advantage. Now it's Bondic in Palace to do the damage, and Oscar going to hit the deck as he gets traded on out. Better late than never. Dennis desperately fighting for his life, back against the wall, quite literally going to go down as well, as Angel comes in swinging. It is going to be a 2-on-3. Still 2 players over here towards this A site, but saying that, Rop's going to go down. Now it's all on Chris J in CT, isolated and alone. Got to buy time for the rotate to come through. But right now, Bomb's still down over towards mid, and if Lol discovers this or just denies them picking it up, then he could try to secure this one, but no, Dead Fox going to find him. Down he goes, now it's all on Chris J. 1v2, and he's a bit out of position. Had to go ahead and leave CT. Instead, rotating around over towards B, just hedging his bets that they would try and switch things up. And unluckily enough for him, in that 50-50 chance, they've made their way over towards this A site. Bomb's going to go down. They're going to have plenty of time to get in after plants, and Chris J is going to have a hard time making his way back in. to try and deny this one.
The reason he's committed to the B site here is he obviously, Lau saw these players back out through the connector and go back towards mid. Obviously, in their eyes, they were going to get the bomb, but in Lau's eyes, it seemed like they may have been rotating, so that's really caught Chris off guard. And now he's got to rotate back in here for the final round of the half, try and pick this clutch up. He's got a kit, he's got the time. He's got a bit of utility as well, but they're separated. Both players holding a bit of a crossfire, both towards under balcony and triple. As he starts to make his way into the site, we'll spot the first. Oh, the wallbang! Damage will come through. Looks in for more, but Angel catches him while running. And HellRaisers are going to be able to pick it up. 8-7 in their favour. A very good half. And we'll see how the second one goes in just a minute. Very confusing half. Neither team able to really cap down on the economy. We saw a lot of upsets and resets there, but what did you make of it?
Yeah, I think both teams did well. Like you said, neither one really keeping track of the economy all that well. Very much struggling to ever build anything up. It looked like, in the beginning, HellRaisers did find themselves with a couple of rounds back-to-back, and that did allow them to develop that strong economy. And that was kind of why we saw them in the driving seat when you think about it, in the early stages of that half. But then Mousesports quickly fought back, were able to diminish that economy back down, and then it just became a kind of relentless back and forth, a tug of war to see who could try and, win out that first half. And we do see that HellRaisers were able to do just that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the risk from it was at least Mousesports going for that, the save, not the save down round, the bonus round with the UMPs, and that instantly, shut them down 2 rounds into the game, and then they weren't able to really build up their economy back to the same level at all. And as soon as you say, they lost that bonus round, HellRaisers picked up a couple, off the back of that. They started to build up some cash, eventually lost it, and they just went back and forth to the end of the half. So neither team really standing too impressively, but regardless, it will be HellRaisers just taking the advantage going into the second half. So then now moving over to the CT side on, again, a very equal map, maybe a little bit CT favoured as some may say. I think this is the most equal matchup yet, and we did say Mirage was going to be the one that will be really close. Yeah,
definitely, but kind of looking at this in a broader scope, I don't think this feels very well for, I don't think this fares well for Mouse on cash. Seeing how close this is, this was one really we had to see them very much pull away on early on and develop a very strong lead. They could still close it out in a fashion that, is overwhelming in their favor, but we have to see them play well if they want to stand any chance on cash, which is going to be coming up next. But as we get ready to head back into the second half, one thing I kind of want to look at is how we've seen HellRaisers go for that mid control. It was something that was very interesting. We saw it time and time again. And usually the kind of strategy we see them employ is they send Zero over towards B. They have Angel watching for any aggression in towards lower tunnel in case the person playing window, Oscar, who usually was kind of the guy tasked with doing that, goes for any aggression out through mid when the smoke lands. They kind of had every angle checked almost, and despite the fact Mao's playing it almost perfectly to try and counteract it, you'd have Oscar in window, then Chris J over towards short, and then Dennis and connector. They could very, very quickly and fluidly rotate players around to try and deal with it. But even then, I just think the way HR adapted was very, very good on their behalf. Having that player in lower tunnel, having the players waiting in top mid, and then the smokes landing in connector and window, leaving short open a lot of the time so they could actually try and find the entry on a Chris J, intentionally. Was something I very much liked. And in the rounds where we saw mid be a little bit more lax to try and keep players alive for the side of Mouse, those were the rounds that we saw HR pick up, almost indefinitely.
Yeah.
Angel just rushing on out up through connector, being a boss, killing everyone. Was a spectacle to see. Yeah, and it's very nice to see how they at least switched it up in the sense that they didn't just commit to the default mid-control plays. Every now and then they throw in a bit of an A smoke take or rush down into B just to kind of catch off the side of Mousesports, so they couldn't at least keep on with the same mid-control, because that's the thing. That's what it punishes. As I said earlier in the first half, if you have that triple mid-control, you have short, you have window, and you have connector, that leaves your A site control just down to Robs, just one player, and while he can reposition around the site, he's got to sit in the site. Unless he plays for a retake towards CT, which is
just less unlikely, and we didn't see him employ at all, it's very risky. You can easily lose a site very early on. So fact of the matter is HellRaisers realised that, and that eco round that we saw from Mousesports when they went for the connector stack, the mid-control stack with the pistols, we just saw HellRaisers go, let's just play safe, smoke execute on A, cut off all these angles, force players to play within the site, and it just left ROPS, and that was it. And then, you know, they easily took it away. So it's nice to see how they at least switched it up on their T side. You
know, one thing I will say is from a tactical standpoint, I do feel like HR did slightly better. But that's something that, in a way, you know, kind of makes me a little bit more excited for Mouse in the sense of if they can try and, you know, really reinvent some of their, you know, ideas heading into this T side, maybe have a bit more structure behind it and actually adapt on the fly. You know, clearly their aim and whatnot is going all good for them right now. I mean, they were still able to take it extremely close, win a couple of these back, despite, you know, them looking a little bit stagnant almost there, you know, employing that very, very same strategy time and time again. There wasn't really a round where we didn't see Oscar in window and we didn't see Dennis in connector or Chris J on short. That was the very much preset setup, and we never really saw them differ from that. Never anything too different, at least. So heading into the T side, I think adapting is going to be the order of the day, as we can see Mouse now on this T side heading over towards B, at least it looks like early on, as Bomb just waits. You can see that Dennis peeking out over towards middle, going to be facing off against Dead Fox, who actually rotates on out. Now it's going to be Angel from short to try and find the first, and he does just remove the head of Dennis, no problem. He's still a huge threat here, posted up on short, can deny the play and through connector, and they've got no smoke to deal with him. So they're going to be at the full mercy of this USP as they try to rush up through connector. Do manage to make it through as they punch a hole straight into this A site. Bomb's going to be going down any second now. Oscar to try and hold the flank, but he's going to be diminished straight away. Bomb will get planted, but it's a 3-on-5 hold. Mousesports going to have their backs against the wall, but at least they've got that bomb down.
Yeah, the Tech 9 armor as well, and ROPS is going to be something to watch out for. Playing a very close position, which will favour him in this angle, but let's see if they can at least get back into the site as they start to make their way. Smoke goes down towards the bomb. They can easily just jump on that with a kit, but Lau says no, denies the first and the second, looking to pick up frags, and he does! It's the ace! First it was ROPS, now it was Lau. Mousesports are back in this game.
I mean, that just seems to be their way of winning, right? Ace the pistol and then try and get off to a good start. Phenomenal from them once again. We were looking at ROPS to try and do it, but no, LOL beats him to it, showing that he's just as proficient in these pistol rounds given the opportunity. That's going to be an 8-8 scoreline as they do manage to tie things up, but they get the pistol, and this is where they're going to try and convert themselves, the anti-ecos, to take them to a 10-8 scoreline. HellRaisers flying up a little bit, but no armor across the board means that they're going to be at the mercy of aim punch and all this utility on the side of Mouse. So they're going to opt to play things a little bit safe now, pushing it over towards mid once the early utility has been expended. Angel going to be tagged down through the smoke though on short, means he has to fall on back, doesn't want to risk just being spammed down from that lone player in mid. And now Mouse actually going to completely reposition, sending that bomb and a couple of players over towards Apps. Still not dedicated anywhere just yet, as you've got ROPS holding the flank on this A site. They can remain very fluid thanks to this, but at the same time, they're also giving up a lot of ground to these pistols on HellRaisers. We're not seeing them actually, you know, securing any of that ground they're being given. But right now, Mousesports have no information as to where these players are.
That's a key thing to focus on, yeah. But Mouse going to be opening things up, at least in the hands of Chris J, as he picks up the first player there over towards the Palace. Sorry, down towards the Apps actually, has ROPS over in Palace, and now Zero, after losing his teammate already, he's got a lot of pressure on him to actually get some damage done. He does find himself one as Dead Fox has rotated back in through the site, and Zero, low on ammo, needs to pick up a little bit more. It's Bondic to do some damage over towards A. So actually so far, HellRaisers have had a good job, but they've really got no armor to support them. They've got to get these headshots as Oscar and Dennis do open up the B site again, cleaning up this round and putting it back in the favour of Mouse. They should be able to close this out in theory, unless we see something big individually from HellRaisers, which I'm not expecting.
Still have a Deagle to play around with. Bondic on the AK, 2-on-3. Bomb's going to be planted. They do rotate on in, but already Bondic, he's holding it passive. He's just going to opt to save, leaving it all onto Stiko to try and wreak some havoc over here towards the B site. Not looking to go aggressive, does want to just try and hold onto the Deag, I think, but he wants to try and deal damage on these players if they go to exit. As he does look around, trying to find something. And he might do just that, actually. Dennis has to eventually leave that position, and actually is he going to peek on out. Goes in with a flash to allow him safe passage, does just make it across. And then there's LOL to back him up. Stiko going to hit the deck as Bondic saves himself the AK. Taking that into the next round means that they could actually buy up some armor behind it, seeing as they did invest relatively little into this in their force. And that's something we usually see from HR. They don't really pick up the armor. They elect to save a little bit more cash so they can get full utility. And there you go. Look at this ace from LOL. I mean, it did deserve the reach.
Yeah, definitely. It's, wow. No words, no words. Yeah, no, you're right in that. HellRaisers is a team that often like to pick up like a full deagle setup in the second round after losing the pistol, and then in the third round as well, or occasionally save for the utility. But this time they are just going to be, as you say, buy up armor around Bondic, and the rest of them just sticking with the default pistols and a couple of invested ones as well. Nothing too special here as Deadfox spams in towards middle. He is saving for the AWP, so can't invest too much into these rounds. And Chris J just charging on into B, looking for the opening kills. It's Zero sitting towards the site. Other than that, no B control. They've got a connector stack going on. And this is going to be a tall order for Zero to hold this one down. He just gets instantly removed from the equation. And Mousesports, they've got their B control once again.
And then they've got to worry about Dennis in mid, the thorn in their side. He does find that frag on a Deadfox. Now suddenly this mid area just becomes a bit of a slaughterhouse for him on the back of the UMP. He's actually going to be shut down by Stiko and Angel. So they do manage to find themselves an SMG, but now Mousesports pushing over towards short, looking to try and take this aggressive bombs that over here, and actually they're going to be boosting a player up to spot over the top. Angel was spotted out in mid, down he goes, and now Stiko and Bondic looking to try and hold on to what they can. I mean, Bondic has got an AK and armor to play around with. He's looking to try and do damage from this A site, and he does so, raining death from afar. Stiko is hoping to try and pick up Chris, but he's got to watch out because now Rops in Palace, positioned perfectly to shut him down there. And it's a bit weird to kind of have your player there that late in the round, but I think, securing the site, it was obvious they were going to try and save the AK still on Bondic, so just priority was kind of shutting him down. They find the frag necessary, and now we're going to be seeing Mousesports in the driving seat. HellRaisers with enough money to buy up into this. They got all the Anticos out of the way, and now they're going to be taking rifles across the board.
No AWP though, that is something to watch out for on the side of HellRaisers. They usually like to pick up Deadfox on that. Never really a team that we see on the double AWP so much, but on the CD side that can still be useful. However, it's just going to be Oscar with the AWP looking for the kill towards B, and he just gets the head right off of Zero. What an opener now to start off this round. Mousesports, they can fully commit with that if they want. The rotations are only just coming in, and that's just going to weaken the defense on towards the other side of the map, as A is now only left with 2 players, and a very passive mid stance as well. They give up the short control in light of losing the first player towards B, and just leave it onto the pressure of Stiko. So he's got Connector and Palace to watch, but it's actually the B charge that will come on in. Mousesports just looking for the opening kills. How Angel will be able to defend the first one, but he's still got a lot to do, and Deadfox at least supporting him. 2 for him. This is a great defense so far, and the bomb's even dropped in the open.
Yeah, Rops and Oscar, tall order ahead of them to try and retake this. Deadfox will falter, but Rops swiftly traded on out. It's all going to be an Oscar 1v3. He's got an AWP to play around with. He's already found 1 frag, but he's got to take it to 4 if he wants to try and clutch this one out. Like you said, bombs down out in the open. Everyone's rotated around to try and watch the site, and they're holding it passively with crossfires set up. Angel aggressive over towards the van. 40 seconds left, and Oscar, he's going to fade away, looking to try and hold on to the AWP, live to fight another day, and we'll be able to take that into the next round, as long as they don't go hunting on the side of HellRaisers. So 1 instantly back and in return from HR. That's going to be 10-9 scoreline. 1 round the difference between these 2 teams right now. And I mean, saving up the AWP for Oscar does mean they can go for a buy into this next round. So it's not too bad. Thanks to picking up those first 3 very, very cleanly for the most part. We do see plenty of money still fielded. And, saving the AWP means that they can guarantee the AWP into the next round. I mean, they could get it anyway, right? They've got more than enough money right now, but still, it's just that little cost removed from the equation.
Yeah, they've got to spread some money over there. One player only had about $2,000 into this one, so it doesn't matter too much. They will still be able to fully afford, and HellRaisers keeping 3 is going to start to build that CT economy that is so difficult to maintain here. As you can see, Mousesports now reinvesting. I can imagine only sticking with 1 AWP despite the money. Chris, don't do it. Good. Just sticking with the AK. And HellRaisers, no AWP for them. Obviously, they've not built up this economy just yet, but rifles is not going to be any issue for them. Utility will be a little bit, held off at least on a couple of the players, but other than that, they should be fine. And Zero actually stuck on a pistol. This is interesting. No, okay, he's got himself a rifle. Phew. I was questioning how that would happen with 3 players saving.
Already lots of aggression over towards mid from Mousesports as they try and lock this down off the bat, but Stiko, he's gone aggressive over towards Palace. He's going to be in a great spot to try and shut out Rops as he does go in for the late play over towards this A site. Be a little bit unsuspecting of Stiko to be positioned where he is, so watch out for that. And now over towards middle as well. 4 players here grabbing full control, and right now, I mean, they've got a player up on short in the form of Dennis. He's going to be facing off against Angel any second now. Is thinking about rounding the corner, but for the time being, Dennis has been allowed to just sneak on up in towards ladder, and they've got players just crawling in the backlines. Boost going to be coming in from Lol. We can see Dennis double peek in towards window with him, dispatching of Deadfox. Smoke's going to go down and block off Deadfox over in jungle. Now, Rops will falter. This means it's all going to be on these players pushing up through connector. Deadfox going to flash himself out. Molotov comes in as well from Bondic as they look to try and hold down this A site, buy plenty of time for the rotates to come in from B, setting up these crossfires, but Bomb's going to be switched around instead of making its way towards B. Angel to try and shut things down, finds the first, but the trade comes in from LOL. Into a 2-on-4 we go, but Bondic going to say no. Drops the bomb as Oscar hits the deck, and then LOL shortly follows over on B.
Yeah, now equaled up to 10-10. HellRaisers have done some good work, and especially with no bomb plant from Mousesports, the economy going to be even more limited into this buy. It will just be pistols at a most here. I don't really want to see too much investment. They'll have 2,900 coming in next round, so no, 20. Yeah, I'm right, 2,400 coming into next round. So they'll have a bit of money to work with, but not really enough unless they, fully eco this one. They have done so. Only a P250 on Rops. Nade will come in instantly. Oscar's going to be low, and a chase towards the top of middle just to shut them down. Here is Angel. He looks for another second kill. The nade just going to miss there as Ropt is last man, and that will just be it. Not expecting anything from a Glock round like that. It's HellRaisers to take the lead once again, and Mousesports back on their buy. AWP going to be possible, but HellRaisers still sticking with the rifles now. No AWP on their Mousesports, they just stick with it.
Yeah, they're going to try and be fast and explosive as we continue into this, and while we can see the bomb dropped in mid once again, looking like they're going to try and exert pressure just across the board, but this time Angel's ducked in through lower tunnels. We do have players on B to try and remedy this, but as he just waits, Chris J going to be able to check the corner, and Angel caught off guard. Down he goes. The trade can't come through from the player in window as Dead Fox gets completely isolated from scenario. Now peeking on out, quickly realizes the threats in towards lower tunnels, and actually going to be tagged down a little bit on the back of that to 50 HP. Steve quite close and personal over towards ramp, watching for the push coming in from Rops. Now, we haven't really seen too much from him over in the second half, as he looks to try and shake things up. We're playing late over towards this A site, but it's been a little bit predictable. HellRaisers always waiting for Rops to come in over towards A, and that's exactly what they're doing this time. Stico's posted on up along with Bondic to swiftly try and trade this out. The bomb rotating around a T-spawn, looking like A is going to be the site in question after all. And right now we're just waiting. Let's see how they're going to go about this. We can see players rotating back in from B, but Zero's posted up once again to shut this down. When he hears that smoke come out, he can just pounce and pick up a free frag, putting it into a 4-on-4. Smoke's going to go down over towards mid, but he's not going to actually pounce in time. Stico going to be eliminated straight away from Rops. Now Bondic up close, only able to get one as Rops finds himself a second frag out towards this A site. Just looking to punch a hole straight on through on the back of his plate. Alone into a 2-on-4 we go. Bomb's going to go down, and already HR, they're just going to have to save.
Yeah, but Chris J does not want to allow it. Look at his position. He should be able to catch him out. And there we go. Dead Fox is down. All onto Zero, stuck in the back. And Chris J is just going to remove him. It will be 11-11. Mousesports bring it back after a bit of a deficit, but not too long of one, because Rops does manage to do some great work over towards the A site. However, HellRaisers still can invest into this. We're going to be seeing this single up on Dead Fox. Never a team, as I say, to pick up two. And rifles across the rest of them. So utility not going to be an issue here on the side of HellRaisers, neither is it on Mousesports, but they still haven't brought in the AWP. As you mentioned previously, going for that burst play, going for a fast strategy, and that's the reason they obviously caught out that underpass control, at least from Angel in the previous round. He had the teammate to flash him in from window. The fact of the matter is it was so fast down into the underpass, they weren't really expecting it. Mousesports just really charging, and they're going to do the same again this time. The exact same setup from the previous round. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Into connector they go, but they actually back out of the underpass, moving in towards the BAPs for the time being.
This time as well, though, we have got a Dead Fox on that AWP, and he's posted up to try and put some hurt over towards middle if need be. Currently on stairs, can quickly rotate around to help out Stico, holding mid from connector. Right now, Mouse, they're taking things slowly. 4 players over in mid, very methodical, clearing out all these angles. They've got a lot to worry about. You can see the rotate coming in. There's actually Angel going to post himself up over towards window. They kind of take a bit of a gamble here by putting 4 players over towards this A site, but it is going to pay off for the most part. We can see shorts being cleared out by Dennis. If he finds the entry over towards B, then we could see things get switched up, but for the time being, it looks like Mao's thinking about this A site more so than not, as Rops is over towards ramp. The players now pushing up through connector. Bomb can rotate round through T-spawn for safety, or rejoin his comrades in connector for this push. Bondic, Dead Fox, both trying to hold down this site. Dead Fox will be able to find the first. Now going to push through that smoke, actually. Going to be up close and personal with the AWP. Lands the no-scope. Down goes Chris J. Rops able to do some damage, but Dead Fox going to say no. He zoomed in, trying to make this work, but Oscar going to shut him down. Into a 2-on-2 we go. And this site looking secure, but Angel, the Angel of Death, pushing through the smoke, the Shroud, as he emerges. It's going to put it back into a 1-on-1. Dennis coming in from short. Bomb is down and out in the open. He's just going to thunder on through. So little time left. Can't take it slow. Can't be sneaky. And it's going to be much to his dismay as Angel picks up the frag. HellRaisers now find themselves in the lead.
Ballsy peek from Angel, but great performance from DeadFox there to make it work. Angel, actually, the player I didn't expect to be, at the top of the scoreboard, is now 21-17, dominating for the side of HellRaisers, carrying the team over the finish line here, but it's still far from being closed. We have a tactical pause come out on the side of Mouse, as their money is now going to be a little bit limited. I don't really know what they can do with this buy as well. They can invest, yes, but Chris J will be limited to either a Scout or a UMP, maybe even a pistol. And there's going to be no utility on Dennis or Lowell unless they invest in something lesser than an AK. So really an awkward spot to be in. You could typically go for a kind of, pistol round, maybe a bit of armor, some Kevlar, some nades, but they've really not been seeming to have too much effect on these, ecos and force buy rounds. They've typically been only able to close it out on rifles. So going into this one, they can't have a lot of confidence if they want to commit to some kind of quasi.
Yeah, and the issue is, if they decide to force buy into this, they're not going to have, the best buy, as you said. That, I mean, if HellRaisers do pick it up on the back of, the weak utility and whatnot, they're going to go 13-11 in favor of HR. At which point, we would see Mousesports put down onto either a force or an eco, presumably going to go for... it depends if they want to try and win it out or take it through to overtime, really, at that point. So, I mean, they could eco into that next round, but then we would see HellRaisers be... so close to match point. You've given them such a huge edge. So they are in a bit of an awkward stance, but I imagine we're probably going to see, buying down to, kind of like $2,000, getting some armor pistols, trying to make it work. Because then they have still got a bit of a buffer before you see that match point come out.
They can't even buy down to £2,000.
£2,000.
Yeah, so British. They can't even buy down to $2,000 though, because that's the thing. They haven't got a huge loss bonus. It's been up and down so far. So the loss bonus is not even going to be favourable enough to allow them to do so. They can buy down to maybe about 3 on some of the players because they have a couple with 4 and 5k. But other than that, you don't want to invest too much because again, you've got to take into account the loss bonus not being hugely built up. And if they want that AWP in play that we have been seeing so much on the side of Mousesports, they're going to need to save a little bit more cash than usual, so it's a bit of an awkward spot. Typically, if they did have a max loss bonus, 2k would be about the barrier, but they can't convince themselves to buy down that much. So it'll be interesting to see how they take this one.
Oh, and that looks like they're going to be investing a little bit into this. The thing is, right, aside from the money factor of it all, what would you say you need to do, from a strategic stamp? Where do you think their main problem's lying right now? I
mean, we've seen the same setup 2 or 3 times in a row now. This mid-control one, they take their connector and they try and split it towards the A site. I think just do what HellRaisers did when they were having issues. Just completely switch up the pace. Go for something very, very fast. And it seems like that's what they're going to be doing. Actually buying down quite a lot here. This could limit some kind of buy if they don't get the bomb down in this round. As you can see, they are going to be going for some Tech 9 armor and a smoke execute on A looking likely. This is what I want to see. A complete switch up. And look at the aggression towards underpass. Angel's got all the information. He knows exactly what's going on right now as he clears out the entirety of B apps. Only Rops is here, and they're going to come into a confrontation where Rops succeeds, but still, that's the fake not sold yet. Mousesports are going to be fully committing to A, and HellRaisers is going to know exactly what's up. The full rotation has come in, and while the smokes and molotovs may be great, they really need to hit their shots. Stiko down and out. The man advantage actually doubled down for Mousesports on this take.
Yeah, Bondic and DeadFox still here within earshot of the site, but the bomb's going to get planted. Poor DeadFox does at least find Lol in through the smoke, but they've got to worry because Rops is in the back line. Despite only having a UMP to play around with, he's still going to be devastating if he goes unchecked. And right now, it actually looks like maybe he was spotted on out there by Zero, but no, he wasn't. He's just sneaking on in. He's going to be the player to keep an eye on right now as Zero and DeadFox clearing the site very methodically, but they're not going to expect the linchpin that is Rops coming in from behind, getting the first. Now looking for a second, does the damage. And actually, Zero going to chain together 2. Looking to try and clutch this out. Dennis needs to get himself 4. Zero's going to take 3, but Dennis finds the frag. 12-12 as Mousesports tie things up on the back of a very, very desperate force there. It actually pays off. And now they reset the economy of HellRaisers. So suddenly, the whole scenario flipped on its head. And Mousesports looked to be the one in the driving seat.
They were completely playing that for the bomb plant. They invested far too much into that round, considering the loss bonus that they had. So very, very clever of them to at least get that, full smoke execute, get that guaranteed bomb plant almost. And then, for them to win out the round as well, very impressive. So 12-12, as you say. HellRaisers now, after that investment, are going to be crippled economically. Just pistols coming out. We see the aggression, the double peek as well. Stiko does take the kill. That's an AK secured, but with no armor on any of these players to support it, it's still going to be Mousesports probably charging in towards the other side of the map and not allowing anything from the side of HellRaisers. Dennis even does that. Takes the head off Zero, and B is opened.
Yeah, but that said, I mean, they're not within a comfortable range just yet. Oscar trying to spot something out in through connector. Actually going to now be stuck over here towards short. Could be isolated. Has to quickly get out of there, and he does so. Just stylishly b-hopping there around the corner and actually burning Angel to death as he just relinquishes himself to the fire and flames. Into a 3-on-3 we go. A man advantage that didn't need to be given away. Given back to the side of Mousesports as it does get equalized on out. And at this point, it looks like HR's going to be saving. They've got 2 AKs. You might see Stiko make his way in to try and make things costly, but you know, for the most part, they've got everything they need out of this round. Fairly good on their behalf. Not really too confident in them getting the defuse. They don't have a kit. They were locked out the site for far too long. Stiko does have a smoke, but that's it for their utility. So they're just going to opt to hold on to these 2 AKs. Mousesports going to be on 13-12 as they do take the lead. But HellRaisers can get a fairly formidable buy-up into the next round, thanks to saving up these 2 rifles.
Yeah, no one's in close enough proximity to even chase them down, so while Mousesports are leading, this should be okay for the time being for HellRaisers. Not too much to worry about, whereas this should, in theory, be the double eco if they didn't save these rifles. If you look at the money, it's still not very good, so luckily they are going to be able to invest around this. They've just got to work out who's dropping what, what's going where, and definitely no AWP coming into play either, as you can see. Actually going to be a UMP brought out on Stiko. Deadfox could have dropped over a rifle, so I'm interested in that decision, but either way...
What's the AWP?
Well, yeah, that is true. Still, this can be difficult. HellRaisers not going to have an AWP in play anytime soon unless they start to pick up rounds.
Mid-aggression going to be the order of the day, though, from Mousesports. You can see they have a player clearing out lowers in the form of Chris J. The smoke's going to go down a block-off connector, and already Angel hits the deck, so losing a player so early on over towards B, it's been a kind of continuous weak point for them time and time again, just exploited by Mouse. The rotate has to come in, and that means Deadfox now leaving middle, making his way over towards B, and that's going to have a serious knock-on effect to this A site, because suddenly you see that Bondic actually having to try and watch both connector and support his teammate on ramp as Stiko going to take the aggression. They should check it though. Bondic finds one, but swiftly traded out by LOL. Still have to worry about Stiko is on ramp. Can try and make this a little bit more difficult for them now as he peeks on out. The Molotov going to give away his position. Taking the aggression, finds himself one. Now going to fall on back. He's already done pretty much all the damage he had to do. But as they do lose third man, 0 faultless as well. It's all on Stiko. 1v2 over towards ramp. They know exactly where he is. LOL's posted up here. Oscar's watching the angle as well. He's only got 11 HP in a dream. Oscar gonna miss that shot. He knows exactly where he is now. Gonna throw the nade out, but actually finds the frag. Okay, UMP. What's going on? Stiko around in the corner. Knows where LOL is, but LOL's gonna be able to just dispatch of him. Mouse 1 round away from map point.
Yeah, dangerous, especially considering HellRaisers only just got together that buy in the previous round. Now their economy is at the end of the train here. They've really got nothing. 2 players on 4K. They did have a bit of a save, and it will actually be a pause as well. I can imagine a tactical now for HellRaisers, as this one is a difficult one. Mousesports' tactical definitely helped them out in terms of bringing it back into their favor, but now the economy is going to be the main game for HellRaisers. They need to... Well, I don't even know. What would you suggest here? Eco this one, go for the OT, or commit to a buy with not much money?
They're in a very awkward spot, right? Because Mouse's economy isn't great. So if you could somehow break that, you could very easily get yourself kind of a 2-for-1. But they don't have anything to invest in order to break that. So they would be relying solely on, you know, the kind of pistol armor combination to actually do the damage. Whereas, you know, if it was kind of Mousesports had a very, very clear and present economic advantage, then I imagine that would just be off the cards entirely. We would see them play for the overtime. The only reason now I think the pause has been called in is because they know that Mousesports aren't going to have that much money to invest if they lose this round, or even if they make it costly, right? So I imagine we're just going to see, you know, kind of, once again, similar to what we've seen already, buying down to that kind of 2,000, probably like 2,500, maybe a little bit more mark almost from them, so they can still get a buy into the next round and try play for the overtime, but they're hoping to try and find damage here, and I think that's going to be the main objective. We're not going to see any sort of full save, I imagine, but I doubt we're going to see a full force either.
Yeah, the loss bonus does allow them to commit to a bit of a buy, but it does take a lot of resilience to actually be able to play for OT. A lot of teams don't like to do it in any situation. They'll force buy every time the opposition's up to 14, but I mean, HellRaisers don't really have any other options. They've been pretty unsuccessful with most of these buys anyway, so going into this, yeah, an eco is going to look more likely, but I'll be interested to see how they play this one. If they do commit to, you know, maybe a couple of UMPs and then just save up for the next round, or if they just fully buy up. And I mean, out of the money they had, they could get maybe 3 M4s, 2 of them with utility, and then some pistols as well in play. In theory, they could get something, but I don't know. I'm expecting a bit of an eco here. It would make more sense.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, the point being is because the economy of Mouse is so low, there is still that temptation to go for a buy and try and break it. But no, there we go. Buying down to $2,000, keeping some extra money on the likes of Deadfox and Stiko, both for the utility and perhaps for the AWP as well on the back of Deadfox. Now, we can see off the bat, Mouse, they're sending 4 players over here towards this B site, leaving Rops on the lurk at A, as they have done time and time again. But this time a change of pace. Already scanning in towards this B site to try and spot players out. Dead Fox in the corner. Zero here to back him up. And actually a third player in the form of Angel over here towards B, as they've somewhat read into this very, very well on the side of HellRaisers, predicting this more aggressive play to come in from Mousesports to try and catch them off guard. So playing this perfectly right now, just holding these positions, both teams not too eager to be running into the open arms of the other. Chris J does spot out that first. Zero gets spotted jumping across. They know there's one player over here on B at least. I mean, this is a common play for someone trying to get information if you are kind of playing this site as the anchor. Something Zero's done time and time again. Now they post Oscar up. He's just looking to try and find this chance shot. Like shooting a clay pigeon.
He's done this before though, so Zero's got to be pretty worried. As soon as he spots that up, got to be careful. And this time it's Chris J to strike, takes the head off. Dead Fox is still there, does peek out, but the lack of armor going to mean aim punch is a bit of an issue as Chris J removes him as well. These are good entries so far, and Lau going to support as Chris J starts to get tagged, will go down, but Lau again does trade. So site opened up, just one player remaining in the rotation. Well, far away from Bondic. I don't even know if he's going to commit with this or just save the body armor to the next round, because at this point there's nothing they can do. There's not really much point for even Stiko to contest at this point. Bondic, he's alone towards A, actually going to go in for this one, but really I don't see too much chance unless he goes for exits or something of the sort. There's no reason for him to just go down and lose his armor that he may be able to use in the next round, especially being him at 100 HP as well, so he can even reinvest in the head armor if need be. But yeah, this is over. Mousesports have got themselves 15, and HellRaisers, they've got to play for that last round. They've got to play for that OT.
Yeah, damage they were hoping to do, and they've done almost none of it. Only Chris J going down, but that was, you know, before he found himself 2 kills with the UMP, almost kind of negating the fact that he died in the first place. Picking up $1,200 on the back of that will mean he's got enough money to buy anyway. So Mouse going to be arriving at 15. Bondic saving himself the armor, which does take a little bit of the edge off buying into the next round, but you know, it's nothing too significant once again, really. It would have been better if we saw Bondic rotate on round to kind of rejoin with Stiko there in towards that B site. But I think he was thinking maybe we would have seen a fake come in, or perhaps he might have been able to catch out Rops, who has played that A site time and time again. And if he isolates one player over there towards A, he gets himself a rifle. You know, that's one player less, having to buy up into the next round. But here we go, the buy coming in from HR. They've got the AWP on Dead Fox, rifles across the board. And a similar story here for Mousesports.
Yeah, but last chance for HellRaisers here. Dead Fox needs to go big, but this time it's no B pressure. It's all up to A as Oscar. He opens things up onto Angel. The smoke does go down, so no trade will come in here from the side of HellRaisers. And Mousesports not even going to continue with that. They decide to back off towards the T-spawn.
Or do they?
Oh yeah, double bluffing apparently as they move back in towards Ram, but Bondic looking to try and trade things out. He is alone here, and at this point I think HellRaisers should draw a player over from the B site back towards A, as they have lost his advantage, and also they now got no mid control, as the job of Stiko is also to focus towards that Palace as well as a connector. This is a really difficult spot for HellRaisers. Mousesports finally going to start to commit back in towards middle.
Yeah, but Dead Fox has gone aggressive over here towards B apps. He's in a position where he could try and catch them off guard, in particular on the back of this AWP. If he extends any further in, Dennis is in a great spot to deny this play, but right now just holding the angle. Dennis going to walk on out, and that's the equalizer found in the form of Dennis there over towards B apps. A 4-on-4, all equal. The bomb rotating over towards this A side as Mouse looks to try and make their way up through connector. Stiko's posted on up to try and deal with just this, but caught with a nade out. That flash isn't going to help you unless it could do 100 damage, and now it's all on Bondic to hold down A. Quickly dispatched off by Chris J. Zero does find one at least, but he's going to be quickly shut out. It's Chris J going to go insane on the entries. 3 frags for him. It's all on Dead Fox. 1v3 coming on in for the retake. Bomb is going to go down. He's got to go huge here. Oscar watching from short, and I doubt he's going to expect this, as he slowly but surely pushes on into the site. Oscar watching the cross, and it's nice and easy for him. Down he goes. And that is going to be Mouse to win out that first map.
16-12, a very effective one as well. We did say it was the one chance that they had to really take a map off of HellRaisers, and after that performance as well, I'm going to be interested to see how Cash goes. Obviously, yeah. I'm going to stick with my prediction that HellRaisers should take that one back, but the fact that Mouse seem to be rejuvenated, they seem to be a lot better, is good to see.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the CT side from them was a little bit stale, I feel like, but then when we did see things get switched around, we actually see them on that T side. They did very well, and here are some of the aces that we saw. I mean, here's Rops. I mean, he was insane in that first half on the pistol, and then we saw Lol step up in the second as well. So, you know, I think winning both those pistols, helping them greatly, and on the back of just individual plays. Now, not only is that amazing from the perspective of Mouse, but also a little bit sloppy from HR. I mean, they didn't get aced once, they got aced twice, both times in what, 1v3s?
Yeah, that really not a situation you should fall into. But at that point, you've got to give it to Mouse. The only issue with that kind of play, right, is if you depend so much on the individual performance, it can be conclusive to you know, failing out on maps that you really shouldn't have. Again, let's just pretend they didn't pick up those 2 aces there, because you know, if HellRaisers played it differently, they wouldn't have picked up those 2 aces. They didn't peek over in that post plant over on the first round. This could have been a completely landslide victory to HellRaisers, because again, those pistol rounds grant you 3 rounds typically for free. So take away 6 rounds now from Mousesports, it's a win for HellRaisers. So it does really depend on the individual performance. Not to take it away at all from Mousesports. The rest of the rounds they played great as well, but still, you've got to be careful. You've got to allow to have a plan to fall back on if those individual performances don't work out.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when you kind of look over at Mouse, there was just the gift whose giving never stops, the Estonian wonder child, Rops. He was phenomenal, and I very much enjoyed seeing him play. I was like this from Dead Fox. I thought he was on fire with the AWP. It was a bit of a shame because he kind of fell off a little bit there. He was still trying his hardest, but we saw he was kind of the player having to be rotated in between both of the sites. So, you know, very much kind of difficult on his behalf to have to remedy, you know, losing that player early on that CT side in particular. Yeah. We saw a lot of times, you know, he'd be taken out of mid to go and watch B. Whenever he did go aggressive over towards B, usually it worked out quite well for them. But then the second they kind of find something over towards that B site, a little bit of leeway perhaps, instantly, you know, Mouse execute on out over towards A and counteract it in its entirety. So there are a couple of players who were stepping up, Angel as well being another who springs to mind. But it's just the fact that the team as a whole wasn't there. So, you know, we had these players trying their hardest to bring up that CT side, but ultimately they just couldn't. I mean, CT side, it is, you know, the one that you kind of famously can't really do it on. It's a lot harder to have one player carry you on the CT side than what it is on the T side. And them only finding 8 rounds on their T side does mean that when they do switch things up, you know, you see them struggle a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, definitely. But a great first map to kick off this series. We will obviously have Cash coming up in just a few minutes, so stick around for that. Before, though, we're going to head to a short break.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Legion by Lenovo, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.